With the NBA trade deadline just around the corner, it seems that Nico Harrison's master plan has finally been revealed. Over the last several weeks, we've gone over every little rumor, every little rumbling of a player that the Dallas Mavericks have been linked to, or a player that the Dallas Mavericks should go after. And a report that came out earlier today highlights how the Dallas Mavericks were very close of stealing Dorian Finney-Smith from the LA Lakers. And over the weekend, another report came out highlighting how Herb Jones and the Dallas Mavericks would be a match made in heaven. So in this video, we're going to go over those reports, see what it is that the Dallas Mavericks need, who could they go after, and how could that benefit the Dallas Mavericks in the long term. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavericks Digest, bringing the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with today's video, our last video only got 169 likes. I understand it's a whole new year. You know, we're done with 2024 and into 2025 we go. So if you're enjoying everything that we've done on this channel already and you're excited to see what is in store, make sure you like this video. Let's try to get to 400 likes and I'd appreciate it. But the Dallas Mavericks could definitely benefit from a small trade, maybe not a big trade like Jimmy Butler or Kevin Durant, but a small trade could benefit this team. As we all know, as we've said on the channel many times, the backup power forward position is our weakest position, and it's also starting to look like our backup center position could also be a weak position. But instead of trying to just toss everybody off the team and trying to go after some of the best players in the league, sometimes one small trade is all it needs to turn things around. And we saw that last year when we traded for Daniel Gafford as well as PJ Washington, two key players that really helped this team just make it all the way to the NBA Finals. And this year, PJ Washington is an essential player for this team. We have a losing record without PJ Washington, and after the game against the Houston Rockets last night, we are without PJ Washington. There's currently, at the time of this recording, there's no update on his injury. He had a right knee sprain. Hopefully it's just a week and a half. I'm thinking it's 2 weeks max, but until we know when he's going to return, we are going to have to rely on Maxi Kleber to be our starting power forward and potentially have Omax play the backup power forward position. And like we've said many times, the drop-off between PJ Washington to Maxi is far too steep. We don't get enough rebounds. The turnovers just keep piling up, and then Maxi doesn't generate enough offense to back up PJ Washington or to replace PJ when he's out. And I think I can speak for all Mavericks fans when I say we did not expect PJ to miss this much time. Not saying he's injury prone, not saying that he's unreliable. I think the Dallas Mavericks have just had a little bit of bad luck, combining with the suspensions that we got over a few games ago against the Phoenix Suns, as well as that weird bug going around where everybody was getting sick. The Dallas Mavericks can't catch a break, and as we currently sit with a 20-14 record, we have moved down to the 5th seed, only about a game and a half above the 6th seed, and with these next few games being very tough, we cannot afford another loss as we are going to slide down that standings. But the Dallas Mavericks could benefit from a trade, and like I said before, it doesn't have to be a big one, it could be a small one. And over the weekend, or over the few days ago, we saw that the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell for Dorian Finney-Smith. A lot of Mavericks fans were upset. A lot of Mavericks fans, I see you guys in the comment section. You're all fans of Dorian Finney-Smith. I'm also a fan of Dorian Finney-Smith. I got his jersey hanging up. I was hoping that we could get him and I could bust it out the closet and wear it during a live stream. But unfortunately, he is a LA Laker. But that doesn't mean it's the end for the Dallas Mavericks and Dorian. There is a way that he could find his way back on the roster. But just continuing with this, there was a report came out earlier today by Noah Weber of the Smoking Cuban. Make sure you check that out. The article says, newest rumor reveals Mavericks nearly stole the Lakers' coveted top trade target. And the article continues by saying Mavericks showed interest in a trade for Dorian Finney-Smith. According to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, the Mavericks kept tabs on Finney-Smith before he was traded to the Lakers. This is the first report that confirms Dallas was in the hunt for Finney-Smith this season, and the Mavs will now have to shift their focus elsewhere when searching for frontcourt depth. So obviously, it's good to know that the Dallas Mavericks are actually looking for players, and as we know, a lot of what the Mavericks do is kept very close to the chest. The only time we know about anything going on is right before it happens. We look at Najee Marshall. We heard his name maybe 2 or 3 days before we actually signed him. When it came to Klay Thompson, it was literally 2 days before he chose to come to Dallas. And when it came to Quentin Grimes, that came completely out of left field as we didn't even know he was on the radar until we made the trade for him, sending away Tim Hardaway Jr. Nico Harrison, as long as he's been a GM for the Dallas Mavericks, has done an excellent job on all fronts. Not every trade has panned out, but he knows how to pivot and make things better. When we look back to how we got JaVale McGee, Davis Bertans, and even Grant Williams, we didn't stick around with those players for too long. When we knew that they weren't going to benefit the team long term, we were able to pivot and improve and improve and improve. So knowing that Dorian Finney-Smith was definitely on the radar is a good thing. It shows that the front office, Nico Harrison, understand the need of the Dallas Mavericks. As fans, we just sit here and watch the games, and we all see, as we've said on this channel many times, the backup power forward position, more specifically our front court depth, is in need of a fine-tuning. And even though Dorian Finney-Smith may not be the needle mover that a lot of people may think he is or isn't, he is having a pretty good season this year so far. If we take a look at his stats, Dorian Finney-Smith for the season is averaging 10 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 0.6 blocks, 0.9 steals, 0.9 turnovers, and 2.7 fouls per game, shooting 45% from the floor and 42% from three. He shoots 39% on corner threes, 97% of his threes are assisted, and 67% of all shots are threes. And if that's my backup power forward, I'm totally fine with it. A little bit undersized, but as we all know with Dorian Finney-Smith, his defense is able to make up for that lack of size. If you want to put him at the small ball 5, probably not the best option, but it's an option. But definitely being able to defend the wings, defending other power forwards, and just able to produce 10 points and 4 rebounds, shooting 42% from 3 and 45% from the field is already way more than what we're getting from Maxi Kleber. And with PJ currently being out with injuries after he came back from a suspension, the most important thing that we need to look at when we look for anybody to back up PJ is availability and production. Dorian Finney-Smith is available. He plays the majority of his games, doesn't have a history of being injury prone. He's currently with the Lakers, so we'll see how long that tenure is, as whenever you get traded to the Lakers, you automatically become the scapegoat. We saw that with Spencer Dinwiddie. They got him, they hated him, then he came to Dallas. So maybe the same thing happens with Dorian. He goes to LA. In his debut, he didn't really look too good, so maybe the Lakers hate him. He leaves, and he comes to Dallas. We all know that Luka Doncic and Dorian Finney-Smith have a very close connection, as well as an organization who helped his father with his own situation. So a reunion with Dorian Finney-Smith would definitely be heartfelt on an emotional level, but on a more serious competitive level, it would actually help this team more than it would hurt. But the article does continue by saying this has now been 2 seasons in a row that Dallas has shown interest in Finney-Smith ahead of the trade deadline, and the love for him within the organization is clearly still there. Ever since the Mavs traded Finney-Smith to the Nets as part of the Kyrie Irving trade, fans have wanted him back in Dallas, and I'm definitely one of them. Like I said, I got his jersey in my closet. I'm ready to bust that thing out. His three-point shooting, strong defense, and tenacity made him one of the most beloved Mavericks of the Luka Doncic era, and he played a major role in helping Dallas reach the Western Conference Finals in 2022. That was Dallas's first conference finals appearance since 2011, and it helped mark a new era of Mavs basketball. So why not bring back somebody who's been a part of success? Why not bring back somebody who knows the system, who's played with Jason Kidd, who understands his role with this team and this organization? He already has a horse in Dallas, so why not bring him back? There's a lot of reasons why Dorian Finney-Smith would be great for the Mavericks, and the asking price for a trade may have been a little bit too much for us, but there is a way that he could still find his way back on the roster. If we take a look right here, the process, you got to trust it. When you look at Spencer Dinwiddie, who was a Maverick, and then he went to Brooklyn, then he went to LA, he found his way back to Dallas. And then Dorian Finney-Smith, who was with Dallas, got traded to Brooklyn, made it to LA, and maybe he also finds his way back to Dallas. It will be just a full circle moment if Dorian Finney-Smith somehow found his way back to Dallas, but it's closer to reality than we think. As we look right here, Dorian Finney-Smith is expected to decline $15.8 million player option. Dorian Finney-Smith is expected to decline the option for next season and become an unrestricted free agent, according to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype. And Michael Scotto is a very refutable source. He is someone that actually reports on things. It's not just a lot of smoke and mirrors. So if Dorian Finney-Smith, and $15.8 million, that's a pretty big amount to decline for Dorian Finney-Smith, for a backup power forward. And if he were to decline that to come to Dallas, which I think we have a pretty good shot at trying to get him, I don't think we would have the most money for him, as we do have to pay Kyrie Irving. We do have to pay Quentin Grimes. If we choose to keep Quentin Grimes, we could go the route of trading away Quentin Grimes and then signing Dorian Finney-Smith, which I'm not too sure would be the best option. I think Quentin Grimes is very good for this team. He's very young, promising, has a lot of potential. But if we do want to go with a backup like Dorian Finney-Smith, maybe you make a little bit of room for him. I mean, Dante Exum as well as Spencer Dinwiddie both are on expiring contracts. And although I like to see Spencer Dinwiddie back, maybe it's Dante that we move. Maybe Dorian will take less money just to come back to Dallas, finish up his career alongside Luka Doncic, and try to compete for a championship. But not only Dorian Finney-Smith is a player that we've been looking at, obviously we've talked about Herb Jones a few times on this channel, and although there really isn't any news regarding the Dallas Mavericks and Herb Jones, this was reported over the weekend. Herb Jones is a potential trade target for the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks have contemplated trying to add an impact perimeter defender before the February 6th trade deadline, front office sources on rival teams told The Athletic. The New Orleans Pelicans' Herb Jones, who last season was the only non-center to make the NBA's all-defensive first team, is one player who fits that description. But there is little belief in NBA circles that the Pelicans will actually move him, so nothing really there, but you gotta kind of read between the lines. Obviously, Pelicans aren't going to move Herb Jones. We've already talked about that in a previous video. Herb Jones is going to be a part of their younger core moving forward. So what is this really saying? It's saying that Herb Jones and maybe even Dorian Finney-Smith from the other reports are exactly what the Dallas Mavericks need. We need better perimeter defense, and maybe not just one good perimeter defender. Maybe it's more of a team effort, as we give up a lot of threes. We just kind of suck, for a lack of better words. We suck at defending the perimeter, and maybe getting someone like Herb Jones can fix that a little bit, but I think that's more of a team need. But the bottom line is finding front court depth is what this Dallas Maverick team needs to focus on, whether that's a player like Dorian Finney-Smith, whether that's a player like Herb Jones. If the Dallas Mavericks and Nico Harrison can find a player that fits that archetype, that fits that need, the Dallas Mavericks will be fine. As aside from the backup power forward position, the number one issue I would say is just health. We got guys that are getting injured, guys that are getting sick, guys getting suspended, which that just kind of happens as it comes. But the Dallas Mavericks as a team, as a unit, fully healthy and available, we are a very dangerous team. And unfortunately, with the way things are going for the team right now, with PJ Washington being injured for who knows how long, January is going to be a slugfest. We don't really know when Dante's going to be back. I'm hearing January 20th. And with Luka Doncic, he'll be reevaluated on February 2nd. So if we can make it till February above the 6th seed, I think we'll be good. I don't think we're going to miss the playoffs just because of how tough January is. We do have a few back-to-back games. It will get tough. But I think Nico Harrison in the front office, they know what we need. They got their eyes on the league, on who's available, and they're going to make the right move for the betterment of the team. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think Dorian Finney-Smith, Herb Jones, or a player of that ilk is exactly what we need? Or do you think that we should go after someone else? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We can have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for making this far to the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing giveaway every single month on this channel. The only way to enter our giveaways is to become a channel member of any tier. But until next time, y'all take care, drink water. Peace.